You are live, it says, and I'm just going to fiddle about with with the with this a bit. Good morning, everybody. We have a little issue because Michelle put out the link for this, and it turns out that we lost it. So we've had to make a new one. So it's a new link, which she's furiously clicking on now, and if you didn't click this right link, you can't hear what I'm saying anyway. So, have you done it yet, darling?
I'm in the process right now.
Okay, all right. So we're going to pretend that we've got people because we put out a link which is not correct. We're now sending you a new link for all of you who want to join in with us. Do we have anybody at all? I've got people popping up here. I've got 2 or 3 people who are popping up, so we must have people watching. So if you give us a moment. How are you doing, Michelle? Are you there yet?
I'm getting there.
Michelle, I'm waiting on Michelle. And in the meantime, I hope that you watched our video yesterday, our healing video yesterday, because we had a really nice time, a great time, and I do hope that you're enjoying the stories. Now, I did say yesterday, for anyone out there as a healer or even as a patient, if you have stories of healing that you would like to share with us, email me rosemary@rosemaryaltea.com, and we shall absolutely love to share them. You know, we can, if you like, we can mention your name. If you don't like, we won't mention your name. It's as simple as that. But anyway, it's you know, it's great to know that there are so many of you out there who are healers, and it's great to know that there are so many of you out there who want to join with me, Hands Around the World, to connect 11 a.m. every single morning. It takes at least a minute, and that's about all it'll take you to join with us, Hands Around the World, and then, you know, you can be on my team, and I can be on your team too. Are you done yet, Michelle? Or I think Michelle's having some issues.
We're having some technical difficulties.
We're having technical difficulties, so I don't even know if this is going out or if it
You
isn't
do have some
going
people
out.
on. You have some people on. Sharon's on.
Yay!
Starshine's on.
Yay!
There's a couple other people I can't pronounce their names because I'm not very good at that.
Okay, all right. Well, do you want to spell
everybody's
them out?
just saying good morning, good morning, good morning.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. And we are live. If my head seems to be and my eyes seem to be going all over the place, once again, I do not know where to look. I think we have to talk to Apple to get this sorted out, because on the computer, you just simply look right into the computer. Yes, I know you're saying, why don't I look at the computer then? Why don't I use the computer? Well, the picture on the new iPad is so much better, so much sharper, so much clearer. So you either get a brilliant clarity and my eyes wandering about like they don't know where to be.
They're actually not bad tonight.
Are they not? Oh, good. Good, not bad. Oh, well, thank you that they're not bad. I'd like them to be great, but anyway, or you sort of get me on computer. We'll have to figure it out. Maybe we can take a vote. What do you want? More clarity, or a clearer picture, or me looking at the camera knowing what I'm looking, as if I know what I'm supposed to be doing and where I'm supposed to be looking?
I think moving it helped.
Okay, so all right, so we are ready for questions. If you are ready for questions, if any of you did watch the healing session yesterday, I did tell 2 stories. You can find it either on my Facebook page, or you can find it on the YouTube channel. Did you upload it actually, or download it, or whatever it is? So it's on YouTube also. So you can, you know, either way you can watch it. And we'd love to know what you think about this. We sort of, you know, when we saw how many viewers we had in the first 5 minutes of it going out, we were quite amazed. So we know that you're liking it, but can I improve on it? Do you have any suggestions? Not for the healing part, thank you very much. You know, that's me, that's what you get as a healer, that's what I give. But if you have any other suggestions of anything else you'd like me to do, we'd love you to, again, email me, Rosemary at rosemaryaltea.com. And are you up and running yet, Michelle? Because I'm rabbiting away now. Are you actually up and running properly yet?
Mostly.
Mostly.
I've got it on most of your Facebook pages.
Okay.
And updated the link.
Okay. All right. So yes, if you have any suggestions for anything else we'd like to do, you'd like for me to do, please email us. And remember, if you want to be on the mailing list, you have to request it. We do not automatically put people on our email list, as many people do. If you email me for any reason whatsoever, for most people, you automatically go on the email list. We don't do that. I don't like to do that. So if you want to be on my mailing list, you need to request it. And all you have to do is send an email, Rosemary at rosemaryaltea.com. Put in the subject line email list, or that'll do, or even just email, and then Michelle will know exactly what to do with it, and she'll deal with it straight away, and you'll be on there. But if you do not request it, we will not put you on, and that's as simple as that, because we don't want to be all those emails you get on a daily basis. We don't do that either. You might get 5 emails a month possibly, and that's us. So do we have anyone there? Is there anybody there?
Yes, ma'am.
In my big audiences, in the theaters, the lights would go low.
Before we get started on questions, do you want to let everybody know that we've extended the deadline for their entries?
Can I just tell my story first?
Yes.
She's just ruined the ambience. That's what you just did. Because I'm getting people to visualize here a large theater, right? The lights go down. I come out onto the stage. I have everybody holding hands. Tell everybody, okay, even if you don't know the person next to you, I want you all to hold hands, because this is the way we begin. And then I sort of half close my eyes and I say, all right, I want you all to repeat after me. Is there anybody there? And the audience starts to laugh, and then I make them say it. Not that you have to say it, because we hope that everybody in the spirit world who is going to participate is already there without me asking if they are there. But I just think it's a fun thing to do. Yes, I will remind you our competition, because we're getting them flooding in a little bit now. We have extended. The final date will be Tuesday, next Tuesday, the 29th, because we shall be announcing the winners on the 30th. So you can imagine that no, we won't, on the 31st even. Thank you. So sorry about that. So we will be announcing the winner on the actual Halloween day. We're going to have some Halloween fun. That will be next Thursday, the 31st. And we might be even trick-or-treating. Who knows? Who knows? So I'll be announcing the winners then. There will be 3 winners. Unfortunately, you are not eligible for our prizes if you live outside of the USA, simply because we have trouble sending stuff out there which is free, which the Inland Revenue wants to charge us all for. So because we've had so many issues in the past, we don't do that anymore. However, that doesn't mean that you can't send in your entries, and that I love to hear of these things. So if you do have a story to tell, if you do have a superstition in your country or in your family, or if you can remember some old wives' tales, please send them in. Rosemary at rosemaryaltea.com, and in the subject line, if you would like to put in competition. We did say that the deadline was going to be today, I think, but we're the weekend, I think. But we're going to give you an extra, because we've got so many to sift through. We're going to give you an extra 2 days. So entries no later than Tuesday. Michelle can go through them all on Wednesday morning. I shall be reading furiously over the weekend and marking and I'm afraid it's me who's going to actually make the choices. And we've upped the prize slightly, because for some reason or another, I don't know what made me do it, but I shall be, so the The prize is a copy of the new book, A Walk in the Clouds, a CD of my dulcet tones reading to you the full version of The Eagle and the Rose, not an abbreviated, but the full version of The Eagle and the Rose in the CD. And also, for some reason yesterday I said, oh, well, let's put in a meditation tape as well then. So that's what we're going to do. So you get 3 things. So there are 3 winners and 3 prizes for each of those people. However, if you want to know more about those meditation CDs, or if you want to know more about the books, or if you just want to know anything more about anything, if you want to know more about how do you get a consultation, we're getting emails all the time asking us that. If you again email us rosemary@rosemaryaltea.com, and we shall send you out all the information. Please, in the subject line, if you're going to want to join the competition, put in the subject line competition. If you want to know more about books and so on, just whatever it is, put it in the subject line, because it makes it easier for Michelle. As you can imagine, we do get an awful lot of emails coming through this office. So if you want to know more about anything, put in the subject line what it is that you'd like to know more about, because it just simply makes it a little bit easier for us to deal with it. And I think I've talked enough.
Yeah, we're good. Okay.
Michelle is all set. We're all ready. Do we have anybody? Is there anybody there, Michelle? What?
Did you say hi to Greg?
Not yet. So, in a minute. So I'd like to say, so we're now starting. So, all right. So I'd like to say, because we did have technical difficulties, so I just talked until they were all sorted out, which we hope they now are. All the glitches are fixed. So, first of all, I'd like to say good morning to my spirit guide, Gregor, who always stands to my right side. I would also like to say good morning, to say hello to Couture, but he's disappeared. He's in his corner. He fell off of the sofa this morning. He tried to jump up and he couldn't jump up because his poor little joints are obviously paining him. But also, last but not least, I'd like to say good morning to Michelle. Michelle, say good morning.
Good morning.
And bright and cheerful as always. Why don't we just dive into our first question? I'm just going to move this a little tiny bit slightly. There we are.
Okay, our very first question of the morning comes from Kiki.
Good morning, Kiki.
She says, how do you know for sure what your spiritual gift is?
Well, that's a very broad question, because different people have different gifts, and different people have different experiences of learning and growing. For some people, you just know it, it's a knowing, and for many people, they need to, for instance, we do online classes, I do online classes. And when I say we, I mean Gregor and I'm not talking about the royal we. I don't know if you know that the Queen always says, and we are not amused, is the famous line, meaning she, and I suppose God, are not amused, because, anyway, that's the Queen. So when I say we, when I use the term we, I'm referring to both myself and also to Grey Eagle, just in case anybody mistakes the fact that I think that I'm the Queen. I actually know that I'm a queen. But anyway, all right, so Greg and I, we run our online courses to help people to develop their abilities, whatever those abilities may or may not be. And so, there are a variety of ways. Kiki, I'd love to be really clear with you, but there are so many different ways that you can discover, that people do discover that they have a gift. I do believe, however, this might be helpful to you. I do believe that all of us are born in some degree or another with the gift to heal. A child falls, grazes its knee, and instinctively the mother picks up the child and let me rub it better. Somebody has a headache, instinctively we put our hands, and we, even if it's to ourselves or to whoever it is that has the headache, we use our hands all the time, and our hands and our energy it's a natural born thing, and I think we all of us have the capability in some form or another, and to some degree of strength or another, we all of us have the ability to give healing. I told a story yesterday, the story of Dolly yesterday, and I told the story of how I climbed into bed with Dolly, and I did it without thought. I certainly did it without thought of anything other than just giving, giving of myself and giving of my love. So just simply holding somebody's hand is 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 healing. It's all about giving. So I hope that's. I bet I've confused you completely, Kiki. I didn't mean to, but I hope it's somewhat helpful. Yes, let's have another question, Michelle.
Sharon has a question.
Morning, Sharon.
She says, as Halloween gets closer, we always hear that the veil is thinner at this time of year.
No.
I guess between our world and the next, is it true or
No.
is it just superstition?
No, it could be superstition, couldn't it? No, it's something that I think, many people believe that, on Halloween or All Hallows Day, it is the Day of the Dead. There are many countries around the world that celebrate the dead and celebrate the Day of the Dead. And I think that's a great thing. I think we should celebrate our loved ones who have passed into the spirit world, but not, I don't think it's a spooky thing. I think that we tend to think things are spooky, or we tend to think that the veil is thinner, so watch out, because this is when the ghosts and the ghouls can pop out at us anytime, or when we're unaware, they can go boo, or come out from under the bed and say boo to us. But it is a fallacy. Shall I tell you what else I believe is a fallacy? Sharon, this is going to rock your boat. I think the fallacy is that there's a veil at all, because there isn't one. Here is what there is. There is us, who are on this earth plane, so many of us feeling that there is this veil, there is that, that block, that space between us, because, how on earth are we going to get through? There is, the feeling that, somehow or another we are blocked from reaching them. But actually, I think that I use this analogy very often, okay? I use the analogy of the people in the spirit world who are trying to get through. They're desperate to get through to us. That would imply there's a veil, wouldn't it? But actually, it isn't the veil, it is us. We are the ones who are blocking. We are the ones who, we don't know how to open ourselves up. We don't know how to be at one. We don't know how to raise our level of consciousness so that we can actually reach those people. So many times people in the spirit world are standing in our living room, sitting on our sofas with us, even snuggling us in bed. I have a story or a few of those to tell. There's so many people think that, it's that there is this invisible veil that is blocking us, but actually what it is our own energy, our inability to believe that we can see, our fear of seeing. So we're the ones who, if anybody puts up a veil of any kind, we're the ones who block it. And for some weird reason, I have no idea why, I have always been able to see, to sense, to be aware of those in the spirit world, and there is no veil. There is no block. There is nothing there except our own selves that stops us from seeing. Let's have another question. Did I rock your boat, Karen?
Sharon.
Sharon, did I rock your boat, my darling? All right, let's have the next question, shall we?
Okay, the next one isn't a question, it's more of a comment.
Okay.
And it's from Starshine. She
Morning,
says, no
Starshine.
question, just a thank you. It's been 1 year since she had her last surgery and asked for your healing light. And not only am I doing well, but I also haven't had a cigarette for over a year now. Thank you very much.
Oh, lovely. Starshine, lovely, good girl. Well done.
So Evelyn is on.
Good morning, Evelyn.
And it says, "Hi, ma'am. I want to know what my purpose in life is. She feels so unfulfilled."
Um, Here is my suggestion. You might not like it, but this is my suggestion, okay? First of all, you have to get off of your butt and you have to go out and do some volunteering. I always suggest that people should go to the nearest hospital. Myself, it would be the nearest children's hospital because I know that there are kids out there, or the nearest or the closest orphanage, or go to the Salvation Army and say, what can I do? Just keep trying, go out there, volunteer, look for people who are in need. Do it carefully, don't be silly about it, always protect yourself. Don't go somewhere, you know, don't go to a stranger's house, for instance, by yourself. Just be aware that, you know, no matter where you go, rich or poor, there are always dangers lurking in every corner for us. Unfortunately, I have to say that these days. But go to an organisation. Call St Jude's. St Jude's is my very favourite because kids are never turned away there. They do brilliant, brilliant work, and I always. If I'm going to donate or if I'm going to do any kind of charity work, which I have done a great deal of, um, it would be with children. But your choice may be something different. Volunteer once a week, or go search it out. If you want a purpose, go look for it. And also, as you're doing that, my darling, um, pay attention to your instincts. As you're thinking, do I go to the children's hospital or do I go to the old folks home or do I go to the orphanage? Pay attention to the feelings that you have. Which is the strongest pull? Which is the strongest connection? Or if it's a church that you'd like to go to, or the Salvation Army that you'd like to go, or Goodwill. I mean, there are a trillion charities here. If you feel that your work or your purpose could be healing, find a good teacher. They are not easy to find, but still, or watch my videos every Wednesday. We do a healing video. But, you know, start looking, get off your butt, start looking, go with your instincts. A good teacher, if you were, for instance, my student, I would say, I'm not giving you the answer, go find it. Because when you go looking and you go searching for the answer, that's when you find it the most. Right. I hope it didn't offend you when I said get off your butt, but that's what we have to do, don't we? Every day, me included, we have to get off our butt. I woke up this morning, I have to say, apropos of nothing at all, I woke up this morning and I felt so tired and so exhausted, and I was sort of sitting there and trying to, I had 8 hours of sleep yesterday. It's far too much for me, and when I have too much sleep, I always feel exhausted. I work much better on less sleep. I'm just one of those weird people. So I woke up this morning totally not refreshed and feeling sort of achy and what have you, and then I thought, okay, so I girded my loins and stretched and said, okay, you need to get ready for work. And then I started laughing because I thought, what work? I don't work. What work would that be? This joyful, wonderful stuff that we do. So, go out and find something that you find joy in, because then yes, of course I work. I work really, really hard, but it's so joyful and I get so much more out of it than I give anyway. Let's have our next question, Michelle.
All right, the next question is from J. Potsk. It's Podsc.
Posh. We're not quite sure how to pronounce your name, but Jay, hi, good morning. What is the question, my darling?
They say, hello, I'm new here, and I am at my veil and wondering if you could sense if my transition will go peacefully. Thank you.
You know what, darling? I'd love for you to email me. And tell me what's going on. I understand what you're saying, Remember, I just said there is no veil, there's no separation here. It is just simply moving from one space and into another. When we pass into the spirit world, our angels are always with us. So if you are at that place right now, I can tell you that that's exactly what will happen for you. But what I'd love to do is, if you would mind, if you just email me, and I'd like to send you some special prayers to help you on your way. Let's have a next question.
The next question is from Jennifer Johnson.
Good morning, Jennifer Johnson. Gosh, we've got a full name in here. Yes.
We do.
Good morning,
We normally never get
Jennifer.
one. It says, "Hi, I've been under a lot of stress lately. I just opened a new business and it's been keeping me up at night. We are barely breaking even, and I just wanted to know if we're doing the right thing."
Well, what would you say if I said no, get out of it? I hope you would argue with me and say, well, I'm not doing that. I put so much time and effort into it. Of course you're doing the right thing, Jennifer. Of course you are. But, you know, so many people out there, and I've had this said to me all of my life, you know, well, if I could write a book, I'd be as famous as you are. Well, you didn't though, did you? So you're not, are you? What people don't realize is that when you work for yourself, when you are your own boss, you have to work at least twice, if not 10 times harder than anybody else. You know, you're not on the clock. You can't say, well, I'm only working 6 hours today. You've got to work until the job is done, because it's yours and you're responsible. So it is so tough, Jennifer, but I'm going to send you lots of love and light, and perhaps a little bit of energy, so that you can have confidence in yourself, a little bit more confidence, and just grit your teeth and battle through. However, I do have one caution for you, because as I'm talking to you, Grey Eagle has put his hand on my shoulder, so I'm paying attention to him and what he's saying to me, because I do feel that you are not being as strict with finances as you need to be. You need to be ever more watchful. That's what I feel. You know, we tend to think, oh, well, it won't hurt if we spend a little bit here or do a little bit there and so on. And especially when you work for yourself, just be careful. Just be really careful. That is my one caution to you. But go for it, my love. Yes.
Issa's on, and he said,
Who is?
Issa.
Issa. Good morning, Issa.
Says, "My prize is seeing you talk."
I'm sorry, what?
He said his prize is seeing you talk.
Oh, Issa, how nice. Do you have any questions? We love to have questions. That's so nice of you, my darling. I wonder where he's from. Do we know where he's from?
I have no idea.
The only reason I'm asking is I've never heard that name before, I don't think. And so it's intriguing to me as to where it originates. Maybe you'd like to just tell us that. And then I'll talk to you some more. Let's have another question, shall we?
Randy is on.
Good morning, Randy.
He said, if the soul can go on to live another life after its life in a body, how is it possible to contact them even though their soul has moved to another body? Like a reincarnation.
Yeah, you're talking about reincarnation, aren't you? My feelings on reincarnation are very well known. I'm going to suggest, Randy, not to cut you off or anything. Go and take a look at some of the other videos, because we have talked about reincarnation a lot. And my feeling on reincarnation is very different than other people's belief. I'll tell you this story though, because it just comes to mind. I was in Hong Kong, and I had a man who came to see me for a consultation, and he wanted to just experience, I think, what was going on with me. However, he was of a particular religion where they totally believe that the moment you die, that you enter another body and you become someone else. However, as we were talking, I saw his father standing next to him, and his question, Randy, is the same as yours. Well, if he's in another body, how can he do this? And I said, well, maybe he didn't reincarnate. Maybe he's still exploring. Maybe he's still sort of, traveling. Maybe he has other things to do. And I know that I left him completely puzzled because he was so convinced his religion taught him as soon as you leave this earth, you are immediately reincarnated somewhere else. I actually personally don't believe that. I'm not knocking anybody's beliefs or religions. If you want to believe that and it works for you, that's fine by me. But I think I think it's so much more complex in some ways and so much easier in others. The actual reality of it is very different than we suppose that it is. Next question.
Okay. Gianna Luca is on.
Gianna, good morning.
She says, in this moment, the media talks too much about the African people that with this ship to go to another place of the world and dead to sea. Is this another Entic cleaner?
Oh, my lovely, I'd love to answer your question. Don't understand a word of it. If you could sort of put it a little bit clearer for me. Do you understand any of that? Do you want to just repeat it again for me? Let me see if I can.
It said, in this moment, the media talk too much about the African people that with the ship go to another place of the, it says of the word, but I believe it means of the world.
And so African people being
dead to sea.
Sorry, my love. Can you, if you could explain it, I'm happy to answer
Let me roll down
for you if I can, but okay, let's have another question, shall we, let's see if she replies. Or if anybody else can understand it, just dive in there.
She had made another comment down. It says, I think that the prayer into the world is arm of peace and not for any war because of the man of war are more.
Right. We're not, darling, sure what it is that you're saying. Certainly we agree with peace and prayers of peace and harmony are our goal, and certainly not war. I'm sorry, I can't answer your question because I don't really understand it. Let's have another question, shall we, Michelle?
Randy says, I should have read this one after his first question.
Okay, go ahead.
It says, if that is the case, could people potentially be contacting my soul without being aware?
Without who being aware? Without him being aware?
I'm not sure if it's without him being aware or without them being aware.
All right, so we already agreed that reincarnation does not happen to everybody by any means. So I think the second question is not.
Not good.
Move on.
Okay.
Sorry, Randy. Moving on.
Brooke says, oh, yippee, I found you.
Oh, yippee, good. Hi, Brooke. Brooke or Brooks?
Brooks.
Good morning, Brooks.
Violet's on and says, morning, Rosemary. Can I ask, does Gray Eagle always stand to your right?
Oh, of course. Who is this, did you say? Is this Violet? Good morning, Violet. Yes, he actually does, always. Good question and good observation there, Violet. He always stands to my right side, yes. It is odd because, yeah, it's a weird thing because Greg always stands to my right and I always hear him to my right. But when I'm actually listening to people in the spirit world, I'm sort of, even though I'm leaning to my right to Grey Eagle, I'm actually listening from my left side. Very weird. It's all about energy. It's all about how my energy works and how energy flows and so on. And it's all about trying to tune in to raise your level of consciousness. I think that applies to me. I don't necessarily think it applies to most of the mediums, but it certainly applies to me. Good question. Good observation. Let's have another question.
Marguerite is on.
Good morning, Marguerite.
And she says, hi, Rosemary. Do you know whether we lose our ego once we die to the extent that we don't care about the emotions associated with it? pride, jealousy, regrets,
Yeah, I
attachment.
get that. I would love to say, of course, the moment we have left this earth, we become angels, we become perfect, but unfortunately, we do not. And so there are many in the spirit world who do struggle with those things, and and it's all a learning process, isn't it? So we have to learn, we have to grow, we have to deal with those things. That's why we're here, and that's we're still on that journey. When we pass into the spirit world, we are still on that same journey of learning and growing. So I'd love to say to you, the moment we die, ego is disappeared altogether, but it isn't. Let's have another question. That answer alone should produce so many more questions. Yeah.
Lori is on this morning.
Good morning, Lori.
And she says, "Good morning. The specialist I have to see tomorrow runs a bad office and has a bad attitude. I couldn't switch until after tomorrow's procedure. Can you please tell me if this indeed is the last appointment?"
Well, it should be with him. If he's got a bad attitude, why on earth are you going to see him? Why put yourself through that, Laurie? You are in charge of who you are. You are in charge of what you do. You're in charge. So my suggestion is that if you go tomorrow and he has a bad attitude, you should very gently and in a loving way say to him, it would certainly help your patients if you were to smile and if you were to have a little gentleness. That would guarantee your last appointment with him, wouldn't it? So we can talk about it another time. Let's have another question, shall we? Can I also say here, because this happens a lot. Laura, you're not the only person who has a doctor who is rude or aggressive or seemingly indifferent. Now, let me just say that my experience of the medical profession has been brilliant. I've had some brilliant doctors, I've had brilliant nurses, I've I've had one or two pretty bad experiences, but when I have a bad experience with the medical profession, I stand up and I say something, and they back down and often apologize because I won't have it. You are your own advocate. So many people are intimidated because somebody's wearing a white coat and a stethoscope around their neck. That we are intimidated very often by uniforms. We're intimidated by a policeman in a uniform. We're intimidated by doctors. Even some people are intimidated by nurses who are just generally, not always, but generally lovely. I've learned over the years, and I was very fortunate to have some severe illnesses and kidney issues and major surgeries. And when I say I'm fortunate, I do really mean that I was very fortunate to have to go through all of that, because boy, did it ever teach me. If you don't stand up for yourself, nobody else is going to stand up for you. As a healer, when patients come to me, I then become their advocate, and anybody who messes with my patients messes with me. I've had a lot of people say to me, if I'm ever sick, I want you to be my advocate, because they see how I am with my patients. I'm extremely protective. When my daughter goes into hospital, I am extremely protective. I am her advocate. Don't get in my way. But you should feel the same about your own self as well. You are your own advocate. And, some doctors may not like it, but those doctors who are kind and generous and which most in my experience has been, they're people who value your feedback. And if you see a doctor being rude to someone or aggressive unnecessarily, stand up and say so. Do it nicely. If it doesn't work nicely, then don't do it not so nicely, but do it so they hear you.
She made a couple comments. She said that they had refused to switch her to a different doctor.
Who are they?
And
that's my question.
She did complain to her general practitioner, and her practitioner was dumbfounded and wouldn't believe her because he thinks he knows him. So they said they wouldn't switch her to the one to the doctor that she wanted because of hospital politics, and they're on the same team.
Okay, find a new practitioner. Make a big giant fuss. Change your oncologist, whatever it takes. Make a big fuss. Don't have it. We can talk later about it if you like. I'll give you one or two little strategies. All right, let's go to our next question, shall we?
I gotta move back up there because I went to the end so that I could do her responses.
Okay, all right.
Mary is on.
Good morning, Mary.
And Mary says, please ask Grey Eagle if he or someone in the spirit world knows if there is someone trying to poison me.
Why don't you email me and tell me the story, Mary? And I'll see if I can help you. Let's have our next question.
Deborah is on. And it says, hello, Rosemary. Hello, Michelle.
Good morning, Deborah.
I'm Deborah with Denise, and we're trying to follow you, but honestly, we don't understand anything, unfortunately. I just ask you to listen to our prayers and to connect with Denise.
Now listen to me, Deborah. This is the lady who emailed and said, don't forsake us. Is that right? This is that lady?
Don't leave us.
Don't leave us. I'm not leaving you. I'm not going anywhere. Stop getting so agitated. You don't need to be so pushy. I know you don't understand a word I'm saying, but understand this. My prayers are going out to you every day. I'm not going to abandon you, and I'm not going to abandon your daughter. There you are. There you have it. Next question.
The next one is from Molly. And she says,
good morning, Molly.
Hi, Rosemary.
Hi.
And she
I
was
love
wondering,
that name, Molly. Have you heard the song, the nursery rhyme? Grey Eagle often uses it with me to describe when, if I'm talking to someone in the spirit world and they're not very particularly articulate, he sings me the Miss Molly song. Miss Molly had a dolly who was sick, sick, sick. Do you know that one?
no,
So
but I almost named one doll
quick,
Molly.
quick. I love the name Molly. Anyway, yes, sorry, Molly. Just had to sing that little song.
She said, I was wondering if you see my mom around me.
I was going to say no, but then I felt a hand on my shoulder. So I'm going to say that even though I do not see this, here is a message from Grey Eagle for you. Always. Always. So be comforted, please be comforted by that, because he rarely interferes in these things, but you obviously need it, my lovely. You obviously need to know that she's there with you. So the answer is always. You ask, do we see your mother around you? Grey Eagle is saying always. Let's have a next question.
Okay, Jennifer commented and she said, you are absolutely right, and thank you so much, with a big happy face.
You're welcome. This is the lady
with
in
the
her own business. Yeah, you've got to be on it though. You've been a bit naughty. You've got to be on it. Anyway, go ahead.
Hamilton is on.
Good morning, Hamilton.
I don't know if you remember. He ordered one of your books not that long ago.
You?
Him and I were emailing back and forth.
Did you? Wow.
And he says,
did he get the book and did he enjoy the book? That's all I want to know. Did you have a question, Hamilton?
Actually, it's more of a comment.
Okay, go for it.
He says, good morning, Rosemary and Michelle. Many thanks for your good work and your teachings. I appreciate you. I love you.
Oh, thank you. We want to know, well, you will know, won't you? Which book did he order? And
he ordered The Eagle and the Rose.
Did you like it? That's what we want to know. I know the answer, because how can you not like that book? It's the most beautiful book. Even 23 or something years later, it is known now in the publishing world, in the bookstores. It is known as a classic. Whoever thought when I wrote that book that I would be writing a classic? It is a classic. I don't know how many years it takes for a book still to be in print and still to be going, and for people still to be buying it to be termed a classic, but I'm told it is now a classic. Who knew when I wrote that book? When I wrote that book, I would sit in the garden in my house in Worleby in England, and I would sit there, and it actually started out as a series of stories, other people's stories. There was nothing in the book about me whatsoever, because I was far more intrigued with other people's stories as seen through my eyes, and I was far more intrigued with my patients, with my healing work, and so on and so forth. And I thought, people, this is what people are going to want to know about. And it was only when I actually submitted the book, and I submitted the book it was submitted by my agent to Warner Books in their office is based in New York City, and it was submitted to them. And I had a brilliant editor, Joanne Davis. She was, without a doubt, the best and the most brilliant editor I've ever had. She really knew her stuff, and she really knew what she was doing. And uh, she sort of looked at it and she said, well, it's all very well, this is all very well, and I love the book and so on and so forth, but there's nothing in here about you, and people are going to want to know about you. And I said, no, they won't, no. But she was so right. She helped me to put the book into order. She didn't change any of the stories. She was very respectful of my work, very respectful of what I did. And she and my agent Joni Evans absolutely between them made sure that book got on the New York Times bestseller list. And I'm to this day very grateful to both of them for doing that for me. But I would sit in the garden in my house and write stories, and I would write to other people's stories of this, that, and the other. And sometimes when I read it back, I'd sort of be all teary or emotional or what have you. And that's when I knew that the stories were written as they should be, because trying to explain other people's emotions is I think it's very important as a writer, especially when you're writing about other people and you're writing true stories about people. You've really got to be sensitive to other people's emotions and other people's pain and other people's experiences through you. Let's have another question.
Actually, he made a couple comments. He says, yes, he enjoyed the book a lot, and that I look forward to meeting both of you someday soon.
Oh, wow.
And thanks for praying for me. I'm dreaming of becoming an international philanthropist.
Well,
yeah,
good.
I couldn't get the word out.
Good. You could start with me. We have so many things that we want to do and no money to do it, right, Michelle? Absolutely. I mean, we just really have all these brilliant ideas. But anyway, hey, Houghton, seriously, so happy you read the book and enjoyed it, and so happy that you've joined us today. Let's have another question.
Rachel is on.
Morning, Rachel.
And she asks, what is the best way to open ourselves to those who are around us that we do not see?
Okay, my suggestion to you, as you're not in my class, because we go through this in much more depth in my classes, obviously, but this is what each of us can do on a daily basis. Find 10 minutes in the day. Now, that 10 minutes I know is going to be the hardest, the worst, the most difficult, because it's like, I'm going to exercise 10 minutes a day. Well, you never really find it, do you? I'm going to meditate 10 minutes a day. You never do find that either, do you? So it depends how important it is to you. If it is important enough to give up simply, how many hours are there in a day? 24. 10 minutes out of 24 hours, however many minutes that might be. We won't go into the math of it, but if you can find 10 minutes of every day, find a quiet place to sit where you're not going to be disturbed. Switch off your phone. Switch off all of your gadgets and your computers and stuff like that. Find a nice, comfortable place, quiet place to sit, and just simply sit there. Do not ask for anything, right? That is the trick. You do not say, Mom, if you're there, knock 3 times, or give me a sign, or I want you to know, or tap me on the shoulder. Don't ask for a thing. You sit for 10 minutes on every day, and you simply say to your loved ones in the spirit world, whether it's, let's say it's your mom, right? You sit there and you say, Mom, I'm just here. I'd love you to be here with me. I'd love you to spend this 10 minutes with you. I understand if you're busy, but I'm just here, and if you want to come hang out with me, I'd love you to do that for me, or with me, should I say. And that's what you do, and you just sit there, and 10 minutes, if you're just sitting there and not doing anything, is a long time. But what you are doing is you are listening, you are looking, you are tuning every one of your senses without even realizing that that's what you're doing. You are paying attention. You're becoming more and more in tune. You're becoming more aware. Now, you may see something straight away, or hear something, or catch a glimpse of something, however it is that you're going to connect or going to see. It may take you a day, it may take you minutes, it may take you a year, it may take you a long time, but if you persevere with this, one thing I will guarantee you, if you persevere, it will happen. If those people in the spirit world know that sometime in the day you're going to want to sit with them and be with them, you be with them. Not where are you, show yourself, give me a sign, none of that stuff. Just be open to the fact that if you are make yourself available, that they'll come and spend some time with you. And as you do it more and more and more, you'll become more and more sensitive and more aware that there is no veil, there is nothing separating you. All you're doing is just simply opening your mind and opening your heart, and that's all you need to do. So that's what I suggest to all of you who do not have teachers or do not take courses, or certainly not in my course. Of course, I crack the whip. My students have to do something every day, and I make them work at it too. Let's have another question, shall we? If there are any students out there, we'd love to. You please feel free to give verification to just what I just said. I'm an ogre of a teacher. Yes, let's go for it. Next question.
Molly says,
Who says?
Molly.
Molly, yes.
Mm-hmm. She says, I'm in pain 24/7 and have severe restless leg syndrome.
Oh.
Can Gray Eagle see a reason medically, allergies, something I'm taking or eating? And thank you, with a sparkly heart.
Molly, I think that I'm sure probably people have told you this before, but I think that meditation would really help you. If you are in the USA, if you write to me, I'll send you a meditation CD for free. Just pretend you won a prize here. You will have to pay for postage and so on, but I'll send you a meditation CD to see if that can help you in any way. I know that it helps a great many people. If you would rather have somebody else's meditation, or you know someone, or just sort of lying quietly to music, it's tough though. It's very tough. But you have to be disciplined, and you have to. If I send you a meditation tape, I'm going to expect that you're going to be disciplined enough to follow through and listen to it. It's very likely. What I'd like you to do, I feel as if I'm saying this all the time to people, if you email me, my darling, and you tell me a little bit more about yourself, and if you give me some idea of your dietary plan, I want to know what you eat. I want you to know, when you cheat and how you cheat. Don't tell me you don't cheat, because we all do. So just send me an idea of the kinds of things that you're eating, but give me a little bit more detail of what the actual issue is, and I'll take a look at that and see if we can help in any way. And certainly Greg and I will take a look at that for you. But send me if you're willing to pay the postage. I'm not going to pay the postage, but I'm happy to give you the CD if you would like that. And maybe that's a start. Baby steps, my love. Let's make a little start. Let's have another question here. Or do we have any comments? Anything that's going on there, Michelle?
We have lots going on. We haven't even caught up from this morning's first where I had to go through and email everything out, or resubmit all the links. Kevin is on this morning.
Good morning, Kevin.
And he says, good morning, Rosemary. Do you have any comments about rainbows?
Oh, golly. Do you know the rainbow song, right? One of my stories in my healing sessions on Wednesday, I think maybe next week even, I'm going to tell you about rainbows and how magical rainbows are, and how magical the energy of rainbows are. Every type of energy, every little tiny bit of energy, it shows itself in colors, in different colors in our aura. And I had a little girl who was a patient. She was brought to me because they were about to amputate her leg. That's all I'm going to say about that story. I shall tell you the rest of it. But rainbows have something to do with that as well, Kevin. But I love rainbows. And don't they make you feel glorious when you see them? But it's all that we're literally seeing the aura or the energy field of our earth when we see rainbows. That's what we're seeing. Isn't that great? Right, let's have another question.
Margareta says,
Margarita, is it? Anyway,
Margareta.
It doesn't matter, Margareta.
She says, thank you, because we answered a question of hers earlier.
Yeah.
Says, now I know why I'm passed on. Loved one sends me distressing dreams. No, her past loved ones are sending her distressing dreams.
Your loved ones would not be sending you distressing dreams. The way that you are receiving them might be a little bit distressing, but maybe you are misinterpreting the dreams. Our loved ones in the spirit world will do anything rather than to distress or to upset us. So maybe we didn't quite understand that correctly, but if you want to write to us with a little bit more information, maybe I can clarify what's going on there. Let's have another question, shall we?
Okay, the next one is from Mary. There's a lot of comments here that I've already read that we've dealt with from Lori, so I was trying to skip past those.
Okay, all right. It's not that we don't love the comments, we do.
Well, no, we had already talked to her about all the. I had already read those comments to you.
Okay, great. All right.
Mary asks if you believe in the devil.
In my book, one of my many books, A Matter of Life and Death, I tell the story, a true story, well, they're all true, I shouldn't say true, because they're all true stories, of a dark soul. Years and years ago, and for years and years and years, I believed that, that everyone had a little bit of God somewhere within them. And I used to say this all the time until at some point, Gregor showed me differently. Where there is light, there is dark. The universe is a balance. Where there is where there is good, there is bad, and so on. We can go on and on. But there are, and Gregor has shown me this, has taught me this, there are dark souls that live amongst us. Fortunately, there are not that many in the scheme of things, but nevertheless, they are part of our soul system. They are part of our soul grouping. This earth of ours has its own soul system, not solar system, soul system, and it has that's SOUL. It has its own system of certain types of energy, and each of us is born into a certain pocket of energy or certain type of energy, and one of those, there are 13 soul signs, in other words 13 soul types, and one of those is the dark soul. So not bad to think that sort of out of 13 only one of those souls is a dark soul. These souls are born dark. They come to the earth for the sole purpose of learning and growing, but whereas the majority of us are learning and growing and going towards the light and towards enlightenment, a dark soul is learning and growing for the exact opposite purpose. Soul Signs is a book that I've written. I was going to ask Michelle, but no, you've got a bad hip, so I won't ask you. I was going to ask you to crawl along the floor and get it for you. But anyway, Soul Signs describes each of our souls, our soul types. It is the best relationship book ever, I have to say, because it tells you, and I don't mean relationships necessarily between, men and women or romantic relationships. It is the best ever relation. That's not
the
it.
right one.
No, that's a different. Don't worry, Michelle.
Oh, I know where it is. It's in the cover.
So each of us is a certain soul type, and each of us is in some way influenced by the type of energy that our soul was created from. And it is a brilliant book. It will tell you exactly why your father loves you more than your sister or your brother. It will tell you why your mother, favors this person, this child instead of that child, and on it goes. This is the book that I'm talking about. And it will talk in there about dark souls. And it's sort of fairly explicit. But in the book, A Matter of Life and Death, there is a true story about a serial killer. If you go to the FBI library, you can look him up, you can find him. There's stories in there. They meaning whoever the TV people were, have done some sort of documentaries about him. And and I was asked by the family to go and to help in this circumstance. That's what I'm going to say about it. If you want to know more about that, please email us. We'll tell you where to get a copy of Matter of Life and Death, and even a copy of Soul Signs. Soul Signs is really a brilliant book. I've republished it, and when we republished it, there are lots of blank pages, so you can make notes, because as you're going along with this book, you do need to make notes. If you have Soul Signs, or if you would like to get Soul Signs, please, please, please remember, there is the golden key. You have to find your soul group first before you find your soul sign. If you don't find your soul group first, you'll be completely confused. If you find your soul group first, you only have one of three choices of your soul sign. If you decide to go through the book and ignore what I've said, you're going to have 12 signs to choose from. You're going to be so confused, because you'll be saying, well, that's me, and that's me, well, that's like me as well, and that's me, and so on and so forth. So, but it's a great book. Let's have a next question. I think I answered that question. Michelle, go ahead.
Paola, Paola.
Paola
from Northern Italy.
Morning, Paola.
Says, I feel the presence of spirits around me. I'm never alone, but I'd like to see them to know who they are. How can I do this?
I just explained to sit in a chair and pay attention, and darling, just be patient. The fact that you're feeling them there and sensing them there is brilliant. But if you would like to see them, that's what you need to do. So we already sort of asked that, but thank you, Paola, for your question. Let's have another question.
Molly said, thank you so much, Rosemary. I really needed to know that my mom was around and that she loved the song that you sang. Molly, she had never heard it before.
Well, it's a children's song, actually, but Greg Eagle and I use it very often if we're in a crowded hall. Say we've got several hundred or even thousands of people in an audience, and I need to know something really, really fast, and the person in the spirit world is being a little bit slower, a little bit nervous about being able to communicate clearly. I will hear that song from Grey Eagle, Miss Molly Had a Dolly, and it tells me that the person was sick. They called for the doctor. It was quick, and it describes in sort of very fast, very clear detail what's going on with the person. Yes, I know I work weirdly. I do. I really, really do work very weirdly, but it is so much fun. Let's have another question. We should tell a Halloween story or a ghost story. I got just the ghost story for you on Halloween morning. Let's go for another question, shall we, Michelle?
Margaretta said The Eagle and the Rose is her favorite book.
Mine too.
That it's inspired her and saved her in the deep throes of grief.
Oh, darling, thank you for that.
And she said that she's read many books, but that one is her favorite.
It is the one. I know that so many people have had good experiences with that book. We're going to take another couple of questions, and then it's time already. How did that happen? but we were a little bit late because of the glitches, so we're going to continue just a little bit longer. Michelle.
Okay, Suzette is on.
Good morning, Suzette.
And she said, "Good morning, Rosemary and Michelle. My oldest daughter is leaving one job to start a new one in a very different field.
Good for her.
Do you or Grey Eagle feel that the change is good for her?"
I think it's brilliant. What a brave girl you have there. Tell her to go for it. Go with her heart and do what it is that she feels that she wants to do. The worst thing that can happen in life is that we take on a project and we fail. And then we pick ourselves up, we dust ourselves off and we move forward. It's called learning, it's called growing, it's called progress, it's called, daring and daring to be. So you tell her good for her. That's my feeling. And also let me say, the only way you can actually really fail is if you don't try at all. Right, next question.
Ornella is on.
Ornella,
And
good
she
morning.
says, "It's nice to see you. Can you please tell me 2 words of benevolence?"
Not quite sure what you're after, but I'm going to tell you what Grey Eagle always says to me. He always, I have this amazing book that is coming out as soon as I can get going with it, as soon as I can find the time to finish it off. It's called Grey Eagle Speaks. And in this book, I ask, and many other people ask questions of Grey Eagle, just regular, ordinary, human questions, the sorts of questions we have about politics and war and relationships and all kinds of things that we as mortals on this earth go through. And he answers these questions in the most profound and the most beautiful and the most sensitive way. And he always will say to me, "Rosemary, your world needs gentleness. So go gently through this life." Also, the Apache believe, and Grey Eagle has taught me this also, in your own teepee, in other words, in your own house, with your own friends, with your own family, in your own teepee, walk softly and speak gently. And if we all did that, if every one of us took that to heart and we did that, if every one of us woke up in the morning, every morning, and said to ourselves, "I'm going to be gentle today. I'm going to give out some gentleness today." And if we followed it through, even if we only followed it through for part of the day, if we did that and we were aware of that, and if in our own teepee, our own home, our own family, maybe even our own country, if we walk softly and speak gently, our world would so improve. The energy of our world would become brighter, clearer, and much, much lighter. Do we have any more comments, Michelle, before
Yes.
Yep, let's go for it then.
Lori and Roxanne are on, both of them.
Morning, Laurie and Roxanne.
Lori says she's a tough teacher, but she's the bestest.
Oh, me. Oh.
And Roxanne said, "Good morning. Rosemary is a wonderful teacher."
Oh, she's lovely. But I'm tough. But thank you for that, both of you. Thank you. I'd forgotten I'd even said, "Hey, let's have some comments."
Maggie is on.
Morning, Maggie.
And she says, "Oh my gosh, didn't think that you'd still be on. I know you're almost over, so I just wanted to say hi and send in lots of love."
Thank you. Yes, we are, but we were late starting, so we have a couple more minutes, yeah?
And Jay said, "Thank you so much for answering me. I just emailed you my situation."
Oh, good. We shall take a look at it. Give us till next week. Don't expect an answer today, darling, because we have lots and lots and lots of emails.
I did get his email. We'll review it after the show.
Okay, all right. So, if you want to know more about me, is there any more comments quickly before we close?
I do not believe so.
Okay, all right. So, and if you asked a question you didn't get it answered, try again next week. We'll try to not have the technical glitches that we had today. If you want to know more about me, Rosemary at rosemaryaltea.com. You can find me on Twitter, you can find me on Facebook, and you can find me on Instagram, and all of those other places where people go to be noticed. I'm desperate to be noticed. If you want to know more about my books, if you want to know more about healing, if you would like to be put on our healing list, or if you'd like to be put on our mailing list, remember you must request it. The competition, you have until Tuesday. The competition is all about, do you know of a superstition? Write into us. I will choose the 3 either funniest or best or inspiring, whatever it is I feel like, not intuitions, sorry, superstitions. We want to know what your feeling is. If you want to join the competition, all you have to do is email us, rosemary@rosemaryaltea.com, put competition in the subject line, and then Michelle knows to deal with that. I should be reading this weekend all of your entries. You've got until Tuesday. We announce the winner on Thursday. The winner will receive my new book, A Walk in the Clouds, The Eel and the Rose, in CD form, My Dulcet Tones. It is not an abbreviated version, it is the full version of The Eagle and the Rose, read by me. And also, yes, we've added another little extra prize, a meditation CD as well. This, unfortunately, prizes, you can enter wherever in the world you are. You can send us all your stuff, and we want to know about your superstitions. Unfortunately, the competition only applies to those within the USA, because we do have tax issues and inland revenue stuff, so it's not possible for us to send. It's too complicated and too costly to send out of the country. Plus, if you do want to participate in the competition or in the future competitions, please subscribe. If you want to know more about consultations or any of the other work that we do, again, email us. But if you want to be in the competition, or if you just love me, or you love this show and you just love what we do here, subscribe, because the more people who subscribe, the more we get to be able to do on YouTube. I know it's weird, but that's how it works. So watch out for any notices that we're going to be sending in the not too distant future about our online conferences, because we're going to be doing those as well. And so, and that's it pretty much. I can see people sort of popping up there. Anything else you have to say before I close, Michelle?
Isa is from Bahrain.
Very nice. Well, I'm glad you found me. That's it then. So remember, please remember Gregel's words in your own TP. Walk softly, speak gently, and our world needs gentleness. From each one of you, a gentle word. Every time you send out a gentle word, you send out loving energy. Just remember that. And when we are gentle, kindness, benevolence, love, all of those things come from the gentleness that we try to show, not just to everyone else, but to ourselves as well. So our world needs gentleness. Until I see you again, I'm going to be doing our Everything is Attitude show with Al Pisano. Michelle will be putting all of that stuff up on Facebook later
and in
today.
the email today, everybody will get the email
and in the email, if you're on the email list, so please, you've got to request to be on the email list, so we'll send you all of that information. So I'll be with Al tomorrow. Next Wednesday we'll be doing again our healing session, and our story could be, unless I change my mind and think of another one, is going to be about a little girl who was about to have a leg amputated, and her father desperately brought us to us at our healing centre, and I shall tell you all about that later on, and how rainbows and colour helped a great deal. All right, so until I see you again, please, please, please have a very, very blessed rest of the day, and please also have a very, very wonderful and a blessed weekend to you all. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye. And click. There we go. What does that say? I've got to look at it. Can't see a thing here. I don't know if I'm still on or if I'm off.
You are still on.
I'm still on.
Yes,
muttering away. I wish they'd make these. Are you sure you want to stop streaming? I don't really want to stop streaming, but we have to until I see you again. Remember, be gentle.